Hey, I hope you guys are doing well out there. It's Dr. Matt here. Somebody actually asked, I guess on the weekend, somebody asked about golfing and a warm-up. So I wanted to give you a couple ideas today, if I could. I really got 5 movements for you and things you can do in 5 minutes or less, okay? And somebody, when they made mention of it, I had to laugh because they made mention of a large majority of golfers, I guess, believe that, you know, getting to the bar before they get to the tee is the idea of a warm-up, right? And then I read it at first glance and I thought, oh, what, barbell, right? So, in all my ignorance about that, I was thinking barbell, right, in fitness, but no, they meant the bar, as in the drinking bar, right? So I want to give you something you can do beyond, obviously, the bar, and something you can do when you're at home or getting ready to go out and tee off, or you can even use this as a something at night after you play, okay? So 5 things, I really want you to focus on keeping your shoulders loose, your hips loose, and your trunk nice and stable, right? So you should get most of your motion out of your shoulders and your hips, right? And so really you want to wake up those areas, and the first thing I would recommend is actually making sure you have a band, right? So I'll show you here on the camera. You can get this for keeping your briefcase, your purse, or your golf bag, local sporting goods store, right? Or you can get some of those paper thin ones too that don't have the loop. Either's fine, right? I keep this in my work bag just so I have it with me all the time. Really, what you want to do is start with activating the upper back, right? So the band pull apart is going to be a really good one. Just get your upper back muscles firing, wake up part of your nervous system. All this information from here has to fire down to here, send messages through your spinal cord and wake up all those tissues, and it plays a role in how you move and your muscles work, and also your organs for that matter, okay? So the band pull apart is one I really like, and all I'll do is I'll make sure there's some slack here, and I'll pull my shoulders back just halfway, right? So not all the way back, but just halfway, and I'll make sure there's a bit of slack in the middle too, and I'll do palms down for this one, and I'll just come right across the chest. So when you do it, make sure you're not overarching your chest, overarching your thoracic spine. Make sure you're neutral, head's neutral, you're looking straight ahead. And when I do this one, I do it anywhere from 15 to 30 reps, right? So it's a warm-up activity. It's a cue for your upper back and your shoulder muscles and your rotator cuff to start firing properly. But like I said, some of those mistakes I often see are when you're doing it, you're starting to do this, or you're not even breathing, right? So make sure you're breathing from your stomach and you're breathing as you actually do the movement. Okay? So give that one a try. The second one I wanted to show you is actually shoulder dislocates. And with that one, I would just grab my golf club, right? So that's something you have access to when you're out there on the field. And really what I do, I'm going to use a broomstick today, but what you can do is just from this position, like this, so one hand over top, one hand underhand grip, and just from here, I'll bring that shoulder on the left side right to the end range, and come right through. And I do both sides, so I switch it up. Underhand grip on the arm that's going up. And you can pause at the top and come back down. When you're doing that, make sure you're breathing again. I do both sides just so you go through some sort of range of motion and loosen up your shoulders. And you can even pick it up again. And from the back, I'll show you what it looks like. But just go 2 hands overhand like this. And from here, just open up. And come back down. With that, you can make 8 to 10 passes and actually just open up your shoulders, because if you're spending most of your day like this, driving or curled in at your desk coming from work to the golf green, then your body's not going to be used to opening up the opposite way. Right? So you want to do something to cue it and wake it up. Okay? So that's the shoulder dislocate. That's move number 2. Move number 3 is grab your band again, and don't forget that you actually have they actually have an injury nicknamed the golfer's elbow, right? To get irritation on the inside. So actually condition those forearms and loosen you up and make sure there's some sort of strength component. Because remember, all these muscles have to cross the wrist joint, right? And a lot of them start here, come across the wrist joint and insert in the palm or the fingertips even, right? Same thing with the back of the arm. Start here, and I mean when you're injured here, they refer to that as tennis elbow, right? But essentially you want to condition these muscles, because if you go from 4 to 7, 8 months of not golfing to all of a sudden golfing, you want to have some sort of baseline conditioning so that when you go out to play, it doesn't feel like you're operating at 100%. Right? You want to do a little bit of conditioning so that's your 100%, and then when you go out to play, feels like it's a 60, 70% day. So you still got lots in the tank to play more and some longevity in your game. Okay. So with this one, all I would do, you can even get a water bottle for this one, but all I would do is, you can just step on it and then just do some wrist extension. You can do both at the same time, but I'll bend my elbows just a bit. So I'll extend my wrist, and again, this is more of an endurance activity, right? So when you're doing it, I do anywhere from 15 to 30 reps again. You can do extensors, you can flip it over. You can do flexors as well. But it just helps condition your forearms so that when you get out there and you're gripping and you're doing awkward positions from what you've done over the winter and fall months, then you can actually wake up those areas and help you move better and hopefully be pain-free for the season, okay? And remember, this is something that I'd always recommend doing proactively, right? So you can help improve how you function, all this stuff, right? Don't wait until you have shoulder pain or hip pain to try these. Make sure you're actually doing them as your warm-up or as your evening routine to help keep you mobile for golf and keep you productive. The other one is hip circles, right? And your hips have to rotate really well. Let me show you on the spine here. Grace, if I get you to walk down here in the office. And this is actually your spine, right? So all the messages for health have to come from your brain and be sent down your spinal cord, right? Your spine's going to protect your nerves, which are going to control your muscles, so how you perform. But your nerves are also going to control your organs, right? Now with your hips, right? Your hips have to move freely, right? And you'll notice they're a nice ball and socket type joint, right? Just like your shoulders. So if your hips don't move as well, you'll start to compensate somewhere, right? And you may find that in the form of less function, right? And eventually down the road, you can get the warning signs going off, which could be the symptom or the alarm bells, the pain, right? So if you want to warm up your hip and keep it nice and loose, what I would try, right? What I would try is actually just hold on to something, right? I mean, you can even use a golf club as a third point on the ground to help stabilize you. But really, just come up, open up your hip, come all the way across, and drop down. And now go back the opposite way as well, right? Really focusing on bringing it out, opening up your hip, bringing it up, and bringing it across your body. Now with that, try it on both sides, right? Make sure you keep both hips loose, right? And try it, I'd go anywhere from 5 to 10 reps on each side, right? And remember, with those 4 movements, you could do, let's say, twice around. And this final one, I really like myself, just because I use it when I'm doing the lifts, when I'm doing Olympic lifting and barbell lifting. And I'll use it just to open up my hips and my groin muscles. And this one, you actually got to get on the ground for this one, so I'll show you exactly what I mean, but essentially there's a couple things to take note of. Push your big toe into the ground, okay? So push your big toe into the ground, right? And you can drive your knee out and away from your body, okay? So when you're down on the ground like this, right? I'm down in the bottom of the lunge position. I'll actually take my hand, so if my left knee's here, I'll take my left hand, just put it on my foot to help cue it, to push into the ground. And I'll actually use my elbow on my left side to my left knee to push my elbow out and away to the side of my body. So hang out there, and what I would do, I mean, hopefully you have shorts on or loose pants so you can get in a nice positioning. I would hang out there anywhere from 30 seconds, right, even longer. I would spend a couple minutes there, right, and just stay tall, keep your spine nice and tall, lean forward, and just focus on breathing from your stomach, right? And you're also going to notice it through here as well, right, which feels like a nice stretch in your groin, and that really helps open you up and free up some of those areas so that your spine essentially can stay nice and stable, or stay more stiff in the trunk. Your hips get the movement and your shoulders get the movement, which is an ideal situation, right? Because if you start to compensate poorly, then you may shift, areas of your spine may become dysfunctional, and you won't work as well as you could, right? All right, so give that a try, let me know what you think. And remember, at the end of the day, your nervous system has to control everything, right? But things you can do on your own, keep your hips mobile, keep your shoulders mobile, and start learning to use and keep your core stiff. Anyways, let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Bye for now.